growing up, I used to look at certain people like, man, they're gorgeous, they're good looking and stuff like that. Then at the same time, I always wonder, how the fuck did they kill themselves? Or someone like Michael Jackson, how did a guy who's pretty good looking decide to do all that plastic surgery to the point where it's just like, bro, well, like you had everything. What the fuck's going on in your head? Some people are just dead, drop dead gorgeous, and you're wondering like, what the fuck is going through their head? Then I kind of realized from my experience over time, as I got a certain physique and look that was more ideal towards how I've always envisioned, there's a certain point in my life where, I trained so hard. I got to a certain point in my life where this is pre-Facebook, pre-internet. And again, this is basically what was told to me. I was basically the strongest guy around, period. When people come up to you, when you're so good that people cannot ignore you and they have to come to you and tell you what you are, in a positive manner, of course, is you're aware of it. You're basically undeniable. So I was that guy. I was like, God, dude, you're fucking strong, jacked, lean, everything, right? So I built myself up to that point with an extreme level of discipline. But then I wanted to party. I wanted to go out. I wanted to enjoy life a bit, right? I was like, I did all this work. What am I going to do? Fucking sit at home, just stare at a fucking wall? So then I started hanging out with people that I shouldn't have, doing way too much drugs. I never did really hard drugs. The one thing that caught me was marijuana. That one threw me off a lot, because I would say it's because my mom was a smoker, so I justified smoking. And at that point, during my era, marijuana was more so like, oh, it's just a plant, you can't get addicted to it. And looking back, so was heroin. Like, what the fuck? How stupid was I? I was like, oh, marijuana, I can function on this. I couldn't function on marijuana. I could function, but just not correctly, not at 100%. I also was like, hey, short-term memory, who needs that? Like, you need short-term memory for long-term learning. Like there's a lot of things I just convinced myself of complete bullshit. So eventually I realized at one point, as I was partying, my numbers weren't going up. I was not growing stronger. I was not personally developing myself as a person. That's extremely important. And then eventually you blink your eyes, next thing you know, you're fucking filing for like bankruptcy or a consumer proposal. You're fucking owing people money for a startup you're doing. Your life's in complete chaos. Nothing's right. Your rent is due. And you blink your eyes like, how the fuck did a guy so extremely disciplined? I'm failing university at one point. I was just like, how did I end up with this? But I had the physique, right? I had the confidence. People are like, well, and this is what's really fucked up, because now people are like, to get that physique, this is what's going to happen to your life. It's going to be completely chaotic. In reality, it's because I went down a rabbit hole of complete just using substances to kind of like, it's just a substance. It's going to enhance my performance to some degree. It did to some degree, but the majority of my life was fucking completely chaotic, to the point where relationships were being tarnished around me. People were losing trust in me, because now, like, I wasn't congruent in terms of what I was saying. So then eventually people were like, how can we trust this guy? He can't pay his rent, he can't pay his bills, he can't follow up with anything, he can't fucking do anything. So eventually I became basically a meathead, useless piece of shit. It was a bit of a dark rabbit hole, because eventually I was like the super nice guy. Everyone loved me. I was basically everyone's inspiration. Next thing you know, and I'm like, whoa, I'm doing things that are just unethical, morally not right, like just wrong. Things I'm not proud of. So then I kind of realized, okay, I got to get all these drugs out of my system. And this was the most important thing about the self-image thing I was talking about, with regards to seeing these people who are just drop dead gorgeous. I've witnessed this with family members in my life. For example, my mom's beautiful, but I believe, I don't want to get too into it because it's her own story of life. I believe a lot of her self-image issues is the fact that every time she said she's going to quit smoking, she went against her word, and she kept smoking and kept smoking, to the point where she was not proud of herself because of it. And because she was not proud of herself because of it, she thought she was weak, and she saw herself in a negative light. So when she looked at herself in the mirror in a negative light, she was not proud of what she saw. And then she only saw herself in a negative light. Her worst features were amplified, her best features were gone. And I saw that in myself. When I was jacked out of jacked out of my mind, I was never big enough, right? I always wanted to get bigger and bigger. I was never really happy with how I felt and how I looked about myself. I was only focused in terms of the worst features about myself. I was not proud in terms of what I saw. I saw all the worst features in my face, my body, and it just created a dark lens. So I kind of realized from my own climb out of my dark hole is when we're not aligned in terms of, well, when I wasn't aligned in terms of where I wanted to go in life, and I kept slipping and breaking and just going down an impulsive rabbit hole. That created a lot of darkness. Now that could, from training a lot of people around me, that could be food, that could be drugs and alcohol, that could be sex addiction, to anything. When it starts fucking with our path and it starts affecting the relationships around us, it can make us feel like total shit. So like, when I try to coach a lot of my clients, I try to really focus on helping them build the best habits through their day, giving them a perfect day such that they feel really proud of themselves. And the quickest way to feel proud of yourself is by taking control of your nutrition and taking control of your workouts. Those two things. When I take control of those two things, first thing in the morning, my God. Yesterday I had 2 tubs of ice cream. 2 tubs. When I woke up, I was just like this. Fuck, I don't want to do this. I was unmotivated. I was seeing darkness. And I was just like, every thought that I wish I wasn't, or I was terrified about, all my fears were coming up to my head. How like me being playful and you can call it athletic. My playful curiosity mindset, which helps me become a really good athlete, starts to fuck with me, because now I'm like a quote unquote man child who won't grow up. All right, so like that, me being stuck in life, me wanting to move to a better place, all me not be able to support my parents, those are like very instantaneous on a subconscious level. It's just being amplified up, being raised up. But that's an internal signal in my heart telling me that's where you're going to go. If you keep doing that same behavior, that is going where you're going to go. So whenever people say, oh, I feel like total shit, I'm depressed, this, they start listing all the negative traits. It's like, yeah, because you are that person. Your mind is telling you going down that rabbit hole. So when I see someone like, for example, Michael Jackson, who has everything, but has a constant need to fix his self-image, there's somewhere in his life that he's dropping the ball, where it's affecting in terms of his self-image. He's not proud of what he sees. So on a deeper level, he needs to fix that, because I realized I needed to fix that. And when I started fixing that, it changed in terms of how I looked completely. There was a point in my life when I was a kid, I went into a plastic surgery place. I wanted to get I thought my ears were pointing out. I thought my nose was too big. And that's when I had like it was a weird puberty phase. That was a dark time. But I told myself one thing. I said, jacked people all look good. So before you even decide to take this massive risk, just get jacked first. It's a long path, but get jacked first. I was right. It was all in my fucking head. Because at that point in my life, I was not proud in terms of how I was conducting myself. I was a lazy kid, irresponsible kid. I was a good kid, but like my parents were overly caring. So was my brother. So this is the one thing a lot of people don't understand about being the youngest kid is we're the most irresponsible ones in general because everyone cares for us the most, which leaves us with less responsibility compared to everyone else. Just generally speaking, because you're the youngest kid, everyone loves you and everyone's taking care of you. You're just born like ta-da. So we had to go through that. I spoke to so many youngest child, and that's the same conversation I get with a lot of people. But eventually, because we're the most irresponsible, we have to become the most responsible. It's basically a double-edged sword. It's a gift. So if you're struggling with self-image issues, the quickest way you can start building yourself back up is those workouts, nutrition, early wake-up time, to build the discipline so you can go through the rest of your day and then start conducting yourself in a manner which makes me proud of myself in all areas of my life. Like right now, I'm going to go to a new gym, APC, which in most Sundays I don't, but there's something I want to do in terms of organizing it. I don't get paid to organize this fucking gym. No one's telling me to go on a Sunday to organize a fucking gym. I want to because I feel proud in my heart. And when I feel proud in my heart, I look at myself in the mirror, I'm proud of what I see, because now when I go into the gym, I know it builds a good relationship with everyone else around me. Then again, I'm resonating that positive energy. Now my connections with everyone else in the gym is better. Then I'm proud of who I am, because I know my intentions are pure. And I've lost count in terms of how many people, the drugs, the alcohol, the excess food starts to fuck with them. And people say, oh, I need, more sleep. No, you're just down. Like, you're a dead weight. That's probably what it is. So if you're tired of feeling a fucking loser, you're not proud of what you see, build a person that you look at yourself in the mirror, you're proud of what you see. And the quickest way to love what you see is fucking build a person who's jacked as fuck. But Sam, you told me you're jacked as fuck at one point in your life and you're not proud of what you saw. Yeah, drugs and alcohol, nutrition, clean that out of your system. Drain it out. Because if that's fucking with your head, you cannot be functional in a congruent manner. Sometimes the thing about those drugs and alcohol, it's numbing us from our internal pains. 99% of the time when people do it, they do it and they don't do it just because they have so much free time, they're so proud of themselves and it's like a bonus. They do it because they want to escape life. If you're doing it to escape life like I did in the past, it will fuck with you. Any sort of substance that has to be taken, that's pleasure seeking, has to be completely earned. To the point where it's not going to even fuck with your next day. Like the next days, when my next days are planned out, and it's like, okay, it's not going to affect my sleep, it's not going to affect my discipline. If anything, it's going to help me with my recovery. It's going to help me kind of like be a bit more creative for a period of time. I call it unstructured, structured time. When we have those bits that is completely earned at the end of the week, which I do from my experience. I learned that from Charles Poliquin, an Olympic coach, trained over 800 Olympic athletes, 200 who've medaled. He said he likes to structure 4 hours of unstructured time, and he basically will do anything he wants just to get himself out of a routine so he can kind of like step outside and reflect in terms of how he can, just reflect on his daily process. Because sometimes you go through a general rut, and then that general rut, when you feel like you're stuck, it's hard for us to reflect on. So, yeah, just a bit of a post, a bit of random reflection post in terms of self-image. If you're struggling in terms of how you look, again, wake up time, nutrition, clean that out so you feel good about yourself. You literally feel good. Workouts that makes you feel strong and you feel proud of yourself for overcoming something difficult, and raises our energy and calms our nerves and gets the blood flowing, getting the oxygen to the brain. That's very, very important. And the drugs and alcohol. Those are the three things. For wake up time, workout, nutrition, vices. When those four are tackled, you're a completely different person. And I've lost count in terms of how many people's lives are changed just on that. I've gotten to this point in Montreal where I just moved here with absolutely fucking nothing. 21 days of funds, knew everything post-COVID, right after COVID opened, with those things. And how did I do it like a janitorial job and putting chicken in the stick with so much pride to the point where like, oh, I need to get the fucking house and the car so then eventually girls would like me. Girls were asking me out when I had nothing. Imagine you're a fucking janitor to a gym, basically a janitor, I'm cleaning it up. And you're putting chicken on the stick, and you're getting hit on by all the girls. Like, it's not. I'm not trying to say I don't like talking about that stuff, but I feel like it's very important because people think when I get the car, when I get the house, all those things, and then cars will. Yeah, but girls can sense a guy who's jacked, ripped, disciplined, ambitious, good energy, good vibes, funny, charismatic. Like, why aren't you not building that now? Like, the idea that you think you're going to get the car, the house, all those things, and then the girl's going to like you, you're basically building a superficial mentality. I'm not saying those aren't important. Those are pretty cool. It's pretty great to have. Like, I like this watch, I like this sweatshirt, I like certain things, I like my bicycle. Actually, the bicycle was a gift, but why not? Anyways, bit of a random post, just some reflection for anyone who are stuck out there, who is struggling with mental health, self-image issues. All right, people, lots of love. Let's get it.